Welcome to the Spiritual Roundtable, where we're about to break down, discuss, unpack, and challenge pretty much anything spiritual. Together, we're going to embark on a journey of unlocking spiritual potential through a ton of things like healing, balance, oneness, devil's advocate, and so much more. We always promise to give you what you need and only sometimes what you want. I'm your host, Erika M, child of balance, and here with me, my co-host, is Miss Erin M, Keys of Wisdom 369. Join us today as we talk about what it truly means to rent space for free in other people's heads and what you can do about it. Let's go. Sometimes the universe loves us enough to give us confirmations on our little inklings, our inner knowings, and the random things that our team, our guides, our angels, our spirits, whatever you want to call it, give to us when we're just minding our business. And I'll tell you what, right now, collectively, the energy for messengers is off the chain. They are coming back in droves, giving you all the confirmation for shit that you never wanted confirmed in your life. So if you feel it is 4:04 on my clock right now as we're doing this, if you feel as though you are getting the yes ma'am from the universe, the yes sir from the universe for shit that you haven't been bothering your peace of mind with, but the universe just wants to let you know you're not crazy. And in fact, you are correct. So they send you what we call an unsuspecting messenger for some tea that you probably didn't need to know, but somewhere deep down makes your shadow just a little bit happy so that you can just continue on knowing that all the random things that they give you that you pick up on, that you feel through your feelers and tingle in your energy like, something ain't right. That type of an energy, I'll tell you what, it's on point. It's happening this week, which brings us right into today's topic, which is living rent-free or renting space in somebody's head.
Okay. So I just need to say I love this week's topic, like love it. But I want seriously, I want to say this. You know, when you're talking about the inklings and the this and the that, I want to go straight to the sense of, like you said, these are things and confirmations that you almost don't even want. But when I say these tie back into the things of staying in your own lane, minding your business, and knowing that you are divinely protected. And when I say that, because for me, and let me talk for me for a second, my perspective, I often like my feelers go off when I'm like, man, it feels like the team stepped back. Or man, like, does it feel like we're in like a tighter bubble, like, you know, almost like a protection or this or that?
Yeah.
Not caring why that is, just the awareness of, you know, I can feel the energy doing this. I can
Yeah, we just
feel,
call it the shift. Just that
yeah.
shift in energy where you're like, something changed.
But like when we say the messengers are back and the unsuspecting messengers are back, I'm talking like hot damn people be calling you, sending messages, like all the things. And dropping tea to you from 18 months ago, 12 months ago, 6 months ago. And it's just confirming those shifts in the energy that you felt. But the bottom line is it goes right back to what you were saying, renting space for free in the heads of others.
And wait, before we get there, when we say it's the tea that you just are like, I don't even want, I'm going to tell you why. Because typically when you find yourself renting space, and we'll define it, we'll go into it. When you find yourself renting space, it's usually after you've broken out of a space that you couldn't wait to leave. Whether that be a bad job, a bad friendship, a bad relationship, whatever it is, it's usually somebody, it's just that place, that space where you didn't align. And
Yeah.
your lack of alignment irritated so many people. They
Yes.
don't even realize that their demons were irritated, but they were.
Whether it
Okay,
was
go
your
ahead.
words, your actions, or your energy, though. Because that's the thing. That's what living rent free is. Something about you is still very much present in someone else's reality because they can't let your energy go. You have physically removed yourself. And that's like the caveat here. You have physically removed yourself. You have moved on. Like these are not things that you go back and revisit because you're truthfully like at peace where you are. That's what I said. You're in your lane. You're minding your business. You're grinding, like you say, standing on business, doing all the things in your life. But here's somebody over here that's like, they don't realize the power that your energy had until it left.
And that's the thing. And like, so just for those of you who don't know what we say, because we say it a lot sometimes, renting space for free in people's heads, or living rent free in someone's mind. And it's really just the idea that a person is consumed and occupied with your energy, your whereabouts, your choices, your decisions, your life, so much so that it's become all consuming and is overtaking their thoughts, their active processing, what they consume their time with, you know? And like he said, dude, it's often when you've left. You physically have left, you're doing something else. And I'm gonna be honest, that's usually what irritates people is you're leaving because they either never thought you'd leave or nobody's ever left or whatever the thing or reason is. But I'm gonna be real honest. You when it comes back around, just don't shoot the messenger because your first initial reaction is, why do I need to know this? Like,
Correct.
that is your first initial reaction because chances are you don't want to rent space. Like, if you're doing it, like, if it is brought to you by the universe, meaning you're not prompting, you're not asking people about this person, you're not stuck in their social media,
Correct.
you're not like driving by, trying to bump into them, trying to get their attention, like saying or talking about them, right? Like you are, like he said, minding your own business. You have your blinkers, your blinders on. You are in your lane, keeping your head down and just consumed with whatever you got going on, that you're not even looking at anybody in the outside world, let alone that person, that space that you consider your past, right?
You're not
So it's
looking in the rear view. That's the thing. You're not looking in the rear view. You let the past lie where it is. You accept it for its lesson and the wisdom and everything that it facilitated for you, because you wouldn't be where you're at right now had you not gone through the shit you did. But you're not interested in looking in that fucking rear view.
and there's this large part of, we tell people like, it's okay. Like when you rent space for free in people's heads, you'll hear people like on a little bit more the gangster side, be like, get my name out your mouth. Like it's that kind of an energy to where it's just like they can't help it
Correct.
because quite literally your energy, your light triggered them in such a way by you walking through the world being authentically you that
Mm,
it bothered them. It bothered their shadows. It bothered their demons. It bothered who they pretended to be, whether it was stemmed from jealousy or a misunderstanding or what, it doesn't matter. They had a problem with you, chances more often than not. They had a problem with you, and the idea that you don't have the same problem back is something that just does not register. Right. And the idea that you can move on, but they're stuck on your image, they're stuck on your energy, they're stuck on the past of how you interacted, who you were, the things that happened, past time frames, like whatever it is, they can't let it go. And please know that that's their problem. And I feel like that's really important because a lot of people will be like, I don't understand why people keep talking about me. Like, I'm not even there. And it's okay. It doesn't matter. It's not your problem. You're
it's
not there. It's not your problem what people choose to do with their throat chakra, what people choose to do with their energy, what people choose to consume their thoughts about.
correct.
At no point in time, if you know, and this is where you got to check yourself, if you know that you are not inserting your energy in that space, right? It's not like you just drove by and like honked the horn and then all of a sudden they're like, can you believe this bitch drove by my house? Like, right? Like, okay, well, you inserted your energy. Like, that was you. You're
Correct.
not renting space. You inserted your energy. But if
Correct.
you like mind in your business and all of a sudden someone comes back to you, because you gotta be careful what who people know, like they come back to you and be like, do you know that this person was talking shit about you like 2 months ago and this, that, I just wanted to like reach out and let you know. And you're like, oh, cool, thanks. Great, because when you had that inkling 2 months ago of like, "Why do I feel like this shitty energy ain't mine? Why do I feel like this is being thrown my direction? Why do I feel or why is somebody on my mind? That's really weird. I ain't thought of that person in forever." And you just continue on with your day and you don't bat an eye because you command your energy and you a boss. Like, well, there's that confirmation, Cindy Lou Who, you're not crazy. The Grinch was in town. Like, and that's just that kind of that's just that kind of energy, dude. Like, it's just
Go
that kind of energy.
on, Mr. Grinch.
But that's just that kind of energy, dude. Like,
But it
and
is.
I'll tell you what, and we tell people, like, you can't control other people. You never
Yeah.
have been able to, you never can, and the people who think they can are foul as fuck because chances are they're doing some next level manipulation if they
Yep.
think that they can control others. And you just want to steer clear. But it's just like, it has nothing to do with you.
It
And it's
doesn't.
just super important. And I can't say that enough. This has everything to do with what this person cannot come to terms with. It's
Mm.
their healing journey. When something is consuming your energy, your mind, it is meant to trigger your healing. I don't care what it is. It could be some conflict at work, it could be some romantic relationship, it can be a family member, it can be a best friend. It doesn't matter. Whatever is consuming, it's there to show you something. But you can't do the healing for other people. But you got to be really okay with yourself. Because honestly, if you're not okay with yourself, the idea that people are going around, I hear it more often than not, like people are concerned about what they think, what other people think about them. So they'll be like, well, I don't want this to ruin my reputation. Or what if they say this and this, someone believes them? Motherfucker, if somebody believes the gossiping, trashy person or the person who's angry and bitter and half off their rocker anyway, then you just dodged a bullet. Say thank you, because that's not the kind of friend that you want who's going to believe one side of the story and run with it.
But it's like you just said, it renting space for free in people's head literally goes hand in hand with acceptance of being the villain in other people's story. And I said this earlier, like I think last week in a video. Like, I don't mean the ego-y, oh, I'm cool being the villain in somebody else's story. I mean actually being okay with it. And when I say that, that is eventually it is an easy place to sit because you're not adopting what other people say, believe, think about you, or you know what I mean, or share with others about you. And like you just said, you're dodging a bullet. You're being given clarity. If somebody says something foul about you, and somebody in your circle, or somebody you know, or somebody you called a friend, or whatever, believes that, you're being shown something you need to see. It's the shakeup in your group. It's the shakeup because of your alignment. But the thing is, those two things go hand in hand with each other. And the thing is, that's what people struggle with the most. Their ego tells them they're cool with being the villain in somebody's story, but like their heart space says something completely different. Because like their heart, their self-worth, their love for self, all of those things, they're still working on healing those. And as a result, if you're rooted in all these things outside of you, you're going to be living your life according to what everybody else thinks about you in their terms, and you're going to be a miserable motherfucker. Like, I'm sorry to say it that harshly, but you are. And the thing is, right now, you're kind of on one side or the other. You're losing your shit, and like you can't keep people's names out your mouth, and you're getting told on, or you're literally over here and you're like getting all these confirmations on, and when I say this, on your intuition, on the shifts in energy that you felt, and you're not even looking at this as a, like you said, oh, I can't keep your name out my mouth type of crap. You're like, you are who you are. We were talking about it earlier. When you realize that the version that people craft of you is usually because they're outrunning some kind of responsibility, accountability, abandonment, like whatever label fits, whatever shoe fits. But the bottom line is, it's like, you're not going to change that. You can open up your throat chakra as wide as you want. You are not going to change the minds and opinions of someone else who is not ready to own their shit and their part that they played in the deconstructing, the ending, the walkaways, the breakups of anything.
Well, and I just think it's really important for maybe the people who struggle with people renting space in their head, because there's two sides to everything, right? Like,
Absolutely.
so the people who are minding their business and they happen to be renting space, and then the people who are finding themselves with their space rented. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where it's like, if you find yourself overall consumed with somebody in your mind, you want to know what they're doing, you want to know what they're up to, you want all this stuff, right? You want the details, you want the tea, you want to know where they're at, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, who they're fucking with, like whatever it is. Like, please be careful. And I mean please be careful, because sometimes when you're in that type of I'm gonna call it a hyperfixation state for one reason or another, it's usually driven by your unhealed side, which more often than not is tied to your shadow, which, when left unchecked, can, hype up that ego. And it's like, you just got to be careful. Got to be careful, because you don't know who's on people's teams. You don't know who everybody knows. You don't know, how much protection somebody has, and you don't know how much work they do to stay on the straight and narrow. And when I say straight and narrow, I'm just talking about balanced, mind their business, and not fucking around and finding out. And it's just one of those things, like, so many times people just don't realize that the shit they do, say, think, the energy they put out, shit, even the bullshit spells they construct, get back to people.
Yep.
And if it's not friends of friends, if it's not acquaintances that you just happen to cross paths with that are like, oh, hey, by the way, or if not, it's your team, it's spirit. And then don't get me wrong, if it comes from spirit, they will confirm it in the physical for you later. They're not just going to leave it hanging in the etherical and have you thinking you
Yeah.
crazy. They're going to confirm it in the 3D with an undeniable sign, but they're going to be the one to deliver you first. Be like, "Oh, I just want you to know this." And you're like, "I don't know, well, maybe." Just be careful, cuz you never know who you're going to go up against when you start doing some stuff like that. And like we said before, like, if you're finding something consuming your energy, you have to pause. I don't give a shit what it is.
Correct.
It could be
Absolutely.
bills, it could be somebody, it could be whatever. If something is overall consuming your energy,
That's the
you need
effect.
to pause. And
Yes.
you need to ask yourself, what the fuck? Like, in a good way. Like,
Why
what
the
is
fuck
going
are
on
you
here?
so worried about what somebody else is doing that, like, it is taking, I'm serious, it is taking up this much of your life? Seriously. And
But
I'm gonna give an example because I want to give
it's
an example.
responsibility. It's responsibility,
Well,
because when you're saying that something else is somebody else's problem, but it's occurring in your energy, what you are doing is lacking to give any accountability to yourself. So
correct.
now we're not taking responsibility, we're not taking accountability. Now we're not in charge of our energy, and we have zero control over anything. So now everything happens to us, and that's a slippery slope. And we've talked about in other podcasts that this happens to me, I have no control, is a slippery slope, because where does that end? It
Correct.
doesn't. But it speeds up like a fucking snowball. And next thing you know, you're sideways blown over and you're riding a bicycle in a tornado, Wizard of Oz, like Toto's here too. And it becomes this over-encompassing thing. Now you've just been swept sideways, and you done lost months of your life because you've dedicated it to this crazy hyperfixation that has just blown you sideways. But then when you realign yourself back to where you were, you're like, oh shit, I wasted time and I'm still no further.
I wanted to give this example. I got a few.
Story time.
I
Story
got a
time.
few, but we're going to start off small and we'll work our way up. But
Ooh,
like
story time.
when I say this, but these are things like I want to say everyday things first, like everyday things, dude. Like we go live, right? Do you know how many times in a live people are trying to ask questions repetitively about hyper fixating on someone else's energy, what they're doing, where they're going, are they coming back, are they this, are they that? And then some people even go to the extent after we say we won't, you know, pull on that because one, it's not helpful. Two, we don't do that. We don't pull on people's energy without their consent.
We don't do third party
That's
bullshit.
my whole point. That's number one. We don't do that. But the point is, You're so fixated and consumed that you're willing to invest money, not in something purposeful for yourself and what you need to know, but on what other people are doing. That's a problem because what other people are doing really has nothing to do with you, especially in the context in which we're talking. When people are, I'm not talking, like you said, not people who are inserting their energy in your life, but people who are minding their business. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, they're over here doing them, this and that. And honestly, like you're not even a second thought. And I'm sure that's going to trigger somebody, but like you're not even an afterthought. But your unbalanced ego has you sitting in such a space of importance that how dare people move on and you not be the main topic and the main focus because you're actually projecting your own energy onto other people and the way that you've treated people or the things that you have done. And that's where you really have to get serious with yourself here because like you said, there's two sides of this. There's the ones where you're the one renting, you know what I mean? Where you're the one that's renting space for free, and then the other people who are just allowing people to consume their mind thoughts. And you have to ask yourself why.
Well, that's the thing, and this is not necessarily what I'm talking about when I say renting space, but just to go off your topic, love is hard for a lot of people. And when it comes to loving others, loving themselves, that is everyone's number one struggle because it sits in a worth wound.
Yep.
And I will agree with you. There are so many questions that we get in lives that are like, is Harold coming back? Does Stephanie love me? You know, am I gonna bump into Jaquil? Like, and it's just all of this energy that is expelled on somebody else. When really, when you have those questions, you're really supposed to turn it backward.
Correct.
And you're supposed to pivot it and go, okay, one, why am I asking this question? You know, what's being presented that makes me feel as though I'm not loved, right? Because that's really what you're asking. You're like asking, does somebody love you? Because then you'll feel better about yourself. Like,
Or you have a regret for something you did, didn't do, said, didn't say, in a relationship space. And I don't mean just romantic. I mean friendship. I mean this. I mean that. Like you have something that was left without closure. Something that like you said it did trigger something, but there's something left unsaid. Whether that's energetically, verbal words, there's something there that you don't quite have understanding. And
but
it's
then that's where I go, instead of projecting on somebody else, you got to turn it back inward. You got to take responsibility. And you
yep,
got to go, if you feel like you fucked up,
yep,
then admit it.
correct.
Admit it. There are 7 billion people on the planet. What the fuck does it matter if that one person doesn't like you? I'm sorry, but that's just the truth.
Correct.
Like literally, are you kidding me? Like there are so many people here who would love you for you and love you for the fact that you even had the balls to admit you fucked up. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like if you are sitting there with a little bit of shit not said, this is your sign. Just go say it. Just
Yeah,
go say it. And I'm going to say this with a word of caution. I'm talking about the people who have spent time, sat with themselves, thought about it. I'm not talking about somebody who just got out of like a pretend relationship and all of a sudden wants to be clingy because that's their trauma. That's not what I'm talking about.
no,
And I hope that hits the right people because we're not co-signing Delulu here. But it's just one of those things where it's just like, you got to do what you can live with. You know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of people don't understand that, is that it has nothing to do with you.
nope.
As personal as a lot of times we accidentally take it
Hmm.
as humans, that's our humanness, right? We make it all an I statement, right? This happened to me, I am experiencing this, right? Like, you got to understand that it's like we're taking it we're just taking it too personal. It's not about us.
Yeah.
Like, when we, especially when we're leaving a space, right? When your energy is not present to be in someone else's space, right? So let's say you left that space, you haven't looked back. Let's say it's been a couple months, right? It's like it's really not that uncommon that I'll hear people say like, "Well, it seems like, I left and these people just can't get over me." Probably not. Probably not, because you literally triggered the shit out of them.
Correct.
Your leaving sometimes has two separate effects, right? Like your light was challenging them to be better, do better, to be more moral, to be authentic, whatever it was. It was challenging them to step the fuck up to the plate. And a lot of times I find when people get upset because people are doing it as a mask and you do it for real. So then when you outlast somebody and their mask falls, but yours is really your face, people get bothered.
Oh,
And
you
people
mean
get
when you
bothered
are
because they
well, you mean
feel,
when you are who you say you are, and somehow they just thought who you actually are didn't apply to them, and then when they realized, no, you just consistent across the board, then it's a problem.
yeah, and a lot of times I find like especially when people leave spaces, you leave because you don't align. If you
Exactly.
aligned, then you would stay there. I don't care if it's a job, I don't care if it's a relationship, a friendship, a college, a school, it doesn't really matter. If you aligned, you would stay there because you would be stupid to move out of a place that you aligned perfectly and fit in your life perfectly, right? Like that doesn't make any sense. So it's like you don't lie for a reason. But a lot of times I find that like people will be like, "Oh, well, it's because they put on the mask
Yep.
of being kind, of being helpful, of caring, of being empathetic, right? But maybe that's who you actually are. So what ends up happening is it's a competition for them to who's better when you're just showing up as you because you couldn't give no shit. And
Correct.
that's what happens is when you outdo them accidentally by just being you. And that's what we call triggering people by your light. You just outdo them in a competition you were unaware you were in, right? Now maybe you're liked more. Now maybe you're loved more. Like, now maybe you're loved more, now maybe you're liked more, and that pisses them off because they've worked really hard to pretend,
Yeah.
right? And you just come in and it seems effortless. It's because you're not pretending. But it
Correct.
also, chances are you end up leaving because you don't align. So when you leave, what happens is they now feel like they need to degrade your memory, your character, whatever it is, so that they can then rise back up to the position they thought they were in before you came along. Because somehow to them raising up is stepping on somebody else. And we don't step on people to get higher. Now where I'm from.
Not where I'm
So
from either.
it's just one of those things like that's one of the things that I see um a lot of people finding that they come into contact with as far as what causes that living renting space for free in people's heads. But it's also like the other part of that too is a kind of on the flip side is that jealousy, right? I know so many people that are stuck in shitty situations and shitty people like shitty people.
Yep.
I don't mean that in a bad way, but like in the sense of like people in a certain level like people to be on their level. They don't really like people above them, especially when they're not at a healed enough state within themselves, because that's that competition, right? That's what breeds that jealousy.
That judgment, that judgment.
And yeah, so then when you start kind of changing or you start valuing yourself or you start standing up and maybe you leave a job and you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's just not working for me, right? It's just not working for me. I don't align and I'm not settling where I don't align. Maybe that's your line in the sand. Great. A lot of times I hear from people that I work with in the background where it's like, they are so mad that you did that and they can't. In their mind, they're stuck, they're stagnant, they're trapped. They have no options available to them other than that bad job, other than that bad relationship, other than that bad whatever, family dynamic, whatever it is. So then now they're mad at you when actually they're saying, I wish I could do that too, but I don't feel like I can. And that's a whole nother problem. But then what ends up happening is you leave and all they can talk about is, I can't believe that they did this to me. And it becomes a personal thing. And just know that that's also not your fucking problem.
It's not.
And it can be difficult at times, especially when you feel like you're a good person. because more often than not, the people that I work with who genuinely are good people, they don't think they're a good person, right? They spent their whole life trying to convince others how good they are, that they're just now learning just how rare of an energy they are because they are just innately pure in that sense. I'm not saying they're perfect. I'm just saying they do things with an intention that is clear,
Yes.
right? So it's like, it's one of those things where it's like they just got done convincing to themselves that they're a good person, that then here someone comes convincing others they're a bad person. And that's usually where people get stuck, in that when you first find out for the first time that somebody's talking bad about you or someone's trying to convince others, that elicits your whoa, hold up, right? And then it's like you have to fight yourself to come to your own defense. But that's growth. When you know that somebody is talking on your name and you don't feel the need to defend yourself because the people who know you are going to know that's bullshit, that's growth, because you go, I know my worth. I don't need to entertain that.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, it's not the people that know you. It's that you know you. It's that you know you. And when I say that, it's just like you said, so many people don't know who they are. And they've adopted the beliefs and the thoughts and the constructs of other people for most of their life. And then they're realizing, like, I'm not a bad person. I'm not this. I'm not that. And that's part of being authentic. When you know that you show up in a way for yourself and other people, like you said, with the pure intention, and somebody fumbles that, they have to make you the villain. Because if they don't, in their mind, they fumbled like the golden egg, the ticket, like everything, right? Like when you show up as your authentic self and you show people kindness and grace, and you're there to listen, and you reciprocate energy, and you love hard and all the things, like you are one of a kind. There is no one else that's you. And they can slide as many people in there as they want, and nobody will ever be you, because that's part of being your authentic self. You're irreplaceable. So when you realize, when I say this, not even in an egotistical way, when you realize your worth because you're not trying to pretend to be anything other than who you are and what feels right for you and your moral compass, nobody can emulate that. So you're not sitting there in a space where you're threatened and you're jealous and you're a bitter bitch and like all these things, because you're not in competition with anybody. And I say this, people say that, comparison is the thief of joy. I always say comparison is the thief of authenticity. You can't be authentic while you busy comparing yourself and trying to be someone else. No, that's called imposter syndrome. That again, not authenticity. If you are you, you are not trying to be anybody. Because to try, no, no. We're not trying to be anybody.
Now, a word from our sponsors. If you are looking for a one-stop shop for all things spiritual, check out the website, www.childofbalance.com. We opened up a Get 5, Give 5 program, and it's all for referring friends and family. We know you guys do it. We want to say thank you because we are always seeing you send your trusted people our way. So visit the website and figure out how you can not only get $5 for doing it, but give $5 to your bestie. Visit www.childofbalance.com. There's no end date. We're just launching it now to say thank you. So if you want a one-stop shop for private spaces, spiritual guidance and assistance, mediumship, mentorship, private readings, shadow work assistance, it's all there. If you are looking for a free tree of knowledge where you can learn esoteric wisdoms, breath work, you can learn about yourself, cultures, spiritual hygiene, spiritual practices, spiritual traditions, and you can just learn about almost anything under the sun spiritual for 100% free. Check out the website. And you should become a member. If you're not already a member, www.childofbalance.com. It's 100% free. It'll never cost you money. We would never charge you money. The website is about assistance and community. Take advantage of it, fam. It's a great place to go to unlock your spiritual potential. www.childofbalance.com. I agree. I just feel like so many times, especially with people we work with who buy reads, who come in lives and stuff, like that's like the number one thing I feel like is like, well, is blah 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 thinking about me? Is blah blah blah, ask me, like you gotta pause. If you are so concerned what somebody else is doing, you're missing the point to like the whole reality. You're missing the point to like the whole journey, the whole life experience. It's not about what other people are doing or not doing, thinking or feeling, or it's about what you are doing, what you are not doing, what you are thinking. And like it's all of that. I don't know. I just feel like sometimes living renting space for free in people's heads is something that we will, I feel like, forever be talking about as long as there are unhealed people on the planet.
So what you're telling me is forever.
Yeah, and it's just one of those. No, but it's just one of those things where it's just like, but it just is. It's neither good or bad, and it has no direct reflection on you. It just is.
I want to, and we've talked about both sides, and I want to give examples because I do. I want to give a personal example. I only try to speak from my understanding of things. So let's go where we've allowed people to rent space, right? Once upon a time in my life, there were people doing less than favorable things. There were people that I had an awareness of things they did and this and that. I allowed them to rent space for free in my head. I disempowered myself and my energy and let things that I had, one, no fucking control over, and two, that literally lowered my energetic, vibration in a space of anxiety or fear or comparison, or to literally live rent free in my head. Good God, the words, man.
I know.
But the thing is, once I consciously stopped doing that, I don't know, 5 years ago, my entire paradigm changed. Those people were literally like not even in existence in my reality any longer. Like poof, overnight, gone. Now we can go to the opposite end of the spectrum as well, where
See, but that's important. Before we go to the opposite end of the spectrum, that's important. Where you focus your attention, your energy flows.
yes.
So because you were focusing on somebody,
Yep.
guess who you found showing up in your reality
Yeah.
more often?
Fact.
Because you're feeding the energy of their existence in your reality.
Correct.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
But then you have the flip side of things. And when I say the flip side, I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago, 4 years ago, a year. Most of us aren't. We're always getting the opportunity to evolve or repeat, right? But, I had a space in my life where, I had a friend and I'm a good friend. Like that is something I will say about myself. I don't need anybody to co-sign that for me. I'm a good friend. Yep. I show up for people. I treat people the way I want to be treated. I will sit with you. I will hold space with you. I will work through things with you. And I do it from a pure space. But I will also call you on your shit when I'm your friend. I will call you on your shit. You know why? Because I would want you to call me on mine. Because that's truth and that's honesty and that's respect. And when we say we grow together and we learn together and all these things, right? Like that's how you hold yourselves accountable. When somebody's a friend, and here's the thing that I learned the most before I go further in this. Everybody's definition of a friend is not the same. So start with that. Until you learn what other people define family as, friends as, These things will continue to affect your relationships because the way that you show up and what you define something as may absolutely not be what someone else defines something as. So when people talk about things like family, soul family, friendships, y'all better make sure you're on the same page as what that means. Because, like I said, me as a friend, if I don't agree with how you're treating somebody or it goes against like my moral or ethical compass, bet your ass I'm going to say something. I've lived that before. I've literally lived watching an entire friendship that I've had crumble because I chose to say, like, this isn't how we treat people. Like, this isn't my definition of family. And I'm going to stand on that. You always say stand on business. See, I live my life, and you know this about me, B, right? What do I always tell you? You got to do what you can live with. Well, guess what? My moral compass can't live with people shitting on family for no fucking reason because that's not my definition of family. That's toxic family. That's toxic behavior. So even if I got to stand alone, I'm going to stand and I'm going to call it out. And I'm going to say, you know what? We need to take a break here. We need to pause. Let's talk about this. And see, that's the thing. Let's talk about this. Oh no, no, that wasn't well received. Because that's the thing, communication in your friendship. You're going to learn things real quick. When you're a good friend and you're willing to call things out and hold each other accountable, the second, it's your turn to hold somebody else accountable, you're going to see how deep that communication really is, how factual that trust, that ride or die, all of that stuff really is. Because can they receive what you're saying from a space of love, or are they going to turn around and attack you because they can't take accountability for their bullshit? And that's the thing. I could walk away in that situation knowing that not only did I stay true to myself and my moral compass, right?
Right.
Also, it wasn't a my way or the highway approach. It was a, can we talk about this? Like, can we have a conversation? Like, this isn't my definition of this. So, like, let me pause for a minute because I just need to reassess some things. But then when people be real quick to avoid accountability by like exiling you out of their life and this and that, that's your avoidance of accountability. That's not people doing shitty shit to you. That's you knowing you did some bogus motherfucking shit and like you trying real quick, fast, in a hurry to make sure that person has no access to you or this, that, or whatever because you can't own your shit. And then, like I said, I mind my business because
And
when you
that's not protecting your peace either,
back,
because people in the
not
spiritual community will try
correct,
to tell you that doing that shit is oh, I'm protecting my peace. No, you're running. You're
correct.
running
You're
to the
running,
accountability and the consequences of your actions. You
right?
are running. You are not protecting your peace.
Nope.
You are running.
And I
And
mean,
your peace does not need to be protected. You cultivate peace, and peace just is.
mm-hmm. And the thing is, in that situation for me, right? I don't have any regrets. I don't have a reason to. But the thing is, it has very much been brought to my awareness, while I stay in my lane and mind my business, that, people who claimed to have exiled me felt the need to reach out to people that they might not have realized I had a good friendship with, or this or that, who literally ended up coming and telling on them and the shady shit they were doing and things they were insinuating. And the thing is, you still don't get my attention or my energy. You know why? Because I didn't do anything to you. I don't have to defend myself. I always tell people truth defends itself, don't I, B? Truth defends itself.
Yep.
I don't need to defend the character you've created for me because at some point you can't accept the consequences of your actions and maybe all the shitty shit that happens to you is your karma and not everybody else. And that's the thing.
I wonder that. Just like tangent.
Yeah.
I wonder that. I wonder when people say that, like, oh, my life went to shit, someone's doing magic on me, right? I wonder if it's just the fact that the people who exited your life, whether by choice, the universe, or you yeeted them from it,
Yes.
whether they were actually your blessing and
Correct.
they were actually the light and the higher frequency in that situation, bringing and helping attune some of that abundance because they flow with trust, graciousness, gratitude, whatever it is that would make them vibrate at a level that would be attracting goodness into their life, right? Maybe they function ethically, whatever you believe that is, right? Like,
Correct.
so that when that energy is removed, you're only left then with a scale that is tipped more in a negative scale. So then what do you start receiving? You start receiving the energy that's just yours. That's just the lesser frequency. That's just the more dense, lower level energy. So yeah, your life changed because you kicked out your blessing in the way of you kicked out the thing that was helping you balance your scale as far as energy is concerned.
Correct.
Because you spend enough, and we say this all the time, like another tangent, you spend enough time with somebody and your energy intermingles,
Yeah.
right? Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, show me your friend, like, show me who you hang around, I'll show you who you are, right?
Yeah.
It's that kind of a thing. It's because your energy will merge together. It will, and you'll become somebody different when you're around somebody different. It's just energetic influence, right? Genuinely, people, tend to gravitate towards the higher vibrational, but that's not always the case, especially if that person's outnumbered, right? Like if there's more people who are maybe, more angry or maybe more negative or more woe
More
is me,
vicious.
whatever it is. Yeah, whatever it is, toxicity, whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? You may find that the higher person being overwhelmed gets drugged down and has a hard time recharging. Yeah, sure. But I don't know, there's just something about that it's just like sometimes I wonder how many people, it's not that people are doing shit to you.
Correct.
It's literally just that you have yeeted the people out of your life that bring balance to your negative energy.
And that's exactly where I wanted to break down what you just said even more simplistically for people. Think about when you're a good friend. Think about when you sit with somebody and you hold space with somebody and they're overwhelmed or they need to vent. You are helping ground their energy. You are helping give them clarity. Better yet, if you're somebody, and I say this depending who you are, right? If you're somebody who like knows your friend's having a hard time, like I'm gonna pray for you, right? Or like, uh, would it be okay if like I do protection candles? Like, can I give you a protection candle? Right? You know what I'm saying? Something that you are using your life force and your energy to breathe life, protection, grounding, good things into the people that you love and care about. When you get, you know what I mean? When those dynamics shift and relationships fall away, like you said, you get yeeted from somewhere, like you and all those things about you and your energy go with you. So now there's the absence of what you brought to the table. So while they may have made a seat at the table, you took the energy that was at the table and it's not coming back. So you can feel
And
the
that's what, like, yeah, I think it's important to know, like, when we say that stuff, we just mean you removed yourself and your
exactly.
energy was a light within itself. We're not saying that you
No,
were like, and like sucked up all the energy in the room. No,
no,
it's just that you
who
left
you
and
are.
you are the light in your authenticity. So
Like
when
you
you
said,
left,
your nest
yep,
came with you. Your nest
yeah.
and everything that you are as you, as a friend, as a partner, as a, whatever member in your family, like it comes with you. People notice the absence of energy, but what label they choose to give that absence is in the eye of the beholder. So, like you said, some people are like, oh, they're doing fuck shit to me. Oh, I'm being attacked. No, it's just your nasty ass energy. Go sit down. Stop blaming everything on everything outside of you and own your shit. Maybe shit's shitty because you treat people like crap. Maybe, things are bad for you because you gossip about people all the time. At some point, everybody's done that at some point in their life. I don't care who you are. If you can't own your shit, you can't own your shit, and that's a whole nother problem. But the thing is, sometimes you have to look at things that if you're allowing people to rent space, or you're somebody who is renting space for free somewhere else, it's all rooted in taking accountability for yourself, no matter which side you sit on. Own your shit, and stop worrying about what everybody else is doing because it doesn't matter. All that matters is you, your lane, and your energy in living according to what feels good for you.
Now, a word from our sponsors. If you are looking for a one-stop shop for all things spiritual, check out the website www.childofbalance.com. For those of you who truly appreciate handmade products, we have a handmade shop. Everything is made to order, blessed, saged, and sent out as quick as possible. We have anything from handmade sounds for meditation to chakra chain macrames, to tree of life macrames with inlaid crystals, to herbal blends like bath teas and dump and go specials, to road opener mixes, to kits and oils, and so much more. For those of you who enjoy taking spiritual classes and courses but maybe can't fit it into your busy schedule, we have self-study courses, and everything can be found in the Handmade shop. The website is about assistance and community. Take advantage of it, fam. It's a great place to go to unlock your spiritual potential. www.childofbalance.com. Yeah, and because we like to make things relatable, I just figure we do a little story time. I know you shared one, but I'll share one too, maybe in a different context. So sometimes we hear it with jobs. So here's one that would relate to a career that might help you to understand what it is when we rent space for free and what it may appear like in the physical 3D world, and just not just energy, right? So I worked at a job for, 6 years or so. And I decided to leave for myself. One reason or another. There were several reasons compounding where I was just like, yeah, enough's enough. I'm done. Right. So put in my resignation, went through the 2 weeks, of like closing out, put everything together, left amicably, no issues with my legal. My boss was like, thank you for doing everything you did. Like, there are no problems there. Right. So I'm just continuing on with my life, my new job, whatever else I'm building, growing this business. It doesn't really matter. Like, right. We were just doing other things, focusing on me and mine. Right. Come to find out, I have 2 to 3 separate people coming to me pretty regularly within 3 months, 6 months, 7 months, who are all telling me that my old coworker that I used to work with was talking shit about me. I wasn't in the room, and she's never stopped talking about me. Not in the room. I haven't had contact with anybody. Haven't been by that location. Haven't posted anything. I'm not a sharer of my personal life on social media, so you will never find anything,
No.
certainly not recent. My teenage years might be a little wild, but you can't find anything new. You know what I mean? So it's like, just keeping my head down, like I keep my circle small and I just do what I need to do. So it's just funny when 3 separate people in different instances, right? Not all the same day. It's not like one person had diarrhea and then 3 other people had diarrhea. It's like 3 months in and somebody comes up to me, hey, do you know this person's saying XYZ about you? And I'm like, that's funny. I'm not thinking about her at all. Go about your life. Just to have a grown-ass man come up to me being like, this person doesn't understand how you could just leave like that, and doesn't understand how you can afford to do what you're doing, and blah blah. So you're jealous that I can save money, and you feel like you're stuck at that job. That's not my problem.
No.
That's not my problem. But glad to know I'm still renting space, right? 6, 7 months now, like probably 8 months at this point, to get another woman coming up to me going, hey, she was saying all this stuff about you, and all of a sudden not only telling tall tales, like complete straight up lies about all the drama, all the tea, but also telling tales that portrayed me in a bad light, right? That probably did, I don't want to say bad light, but like that did happen. You know what I mean? Just silly stuff where like I probably wasn't on my A game, right? Doing goofy shit in the office because we have downtime. You know what I mean? Like
You
joking
having fun
around.
at work? I mean,
Yeah, but then it was just like, oh, well, this person always did that. She was never, working, and she was always doing XYZ. And it's like, but that's not necessarily true. Like, yeah, did I do that? Yeah. Do I stand behind what I do, what I say, what comes out of my face, what I write down, what I type? Yeah, 1,000%. So it's like, yeah, did I do that? Yes. Did I do that majority of the time? No. Was that a one-time incident? Yes. Was anybody bothered by it? No. Did it hurt anybody? No. Did it bother anybody? No. Were we slow at
yes, you
work?
did.
Yes. You know? So it's like that stuff where it's just like, it's not your problem.
No.
I am removed from the job. I'm removed from you can blame me all you want for problems that are occurring 8 months after my leave, but it's not my problem.
Correct.
And I know there are a lot of people like that in their jobs that fear backlash. They fear all this stuff from either their boss or their old coworkers. And it's like, it's okay. I promise you, it's not that big of a deal.
No.
I promise you it is because I've lived it and I'm telling you it's not that big of a deal. It's quite comical, to be honest. And that could be my ego, that could be my shadow. It's quite comical because I don't view myself as an important person. Like, I just view myself as an average, ordinary, kind person, right? Like, I don't view myself as special. So the idea that I could be renting space in some rando's head is wild to me. So much so that now 9 months afterwards, we're still talking about me as if I'm there is wild. So much that we're showing videos and we're stalking Facebook and we're looking at TikTok and we're right. So like
Yeah.
that's that all consuming energy that I'm talking about in the fact that I don't talk about her. I don't look about her. We don't have any friends in common. Like none of that stuff. That is what we're talking about when people come to you. I didn't ask anybody about her. They walked up to me or go, "Oh, hey, long time no see. You're never going to guess this." And I'm like, "What?" All 3 times were a shock, and I can guarantee it's gonna keep happening because that person's not changing. They've been who they are for a long time.
But like you just hit the nail on the head, and I feel a similar way. Where it's like you don't put yourself on this pedestal of importance, and like I don't I don't treat myself that way either. Yeah, I mean, I know my worth. I know, you know what I mean. I know those things about
Yeah,
myself.
but see, but for me, like, that was the
Oh,
hard part, like, I had to learn my worth,
so
you
did
know
I.
what I mean? Like, I had to be like, "Okay, we're actually kind of worth a little something." You know
Right.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so it's like, I can tell you, I can promise you, I ain't ever put myself on a pedestal and pretended
Yeah.
I'm it because I'm, like, literally like,
Yeah.
"We deserve to eat today, we deserve to" like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like that kind of person.
Yeah.
"We deserve to take a shower, we deserve to
Yeah.
watch a movie instead of working, we
Yeah.
deserve to
It's
buy
the
that
little
one thing we
things
want,"
that
like,
yeah, that
like
we're rewiring our brains with. But that's the thing. When I look at something and I'm like, oh, this wasn't like that long of a, you know what I mean? It wasn't that long of a friendship in the grand scheme of things. I mean, I'm like over 40, right? I'm over 40. So when I say this, like a 9-month friendship or a 10-month friendship in an aspect of 4 decades, like why are you still hyper fixated on somebody you knew for like 9 months, like 2 years after they stopped talking to you? Like just curious because like it doesn't make sense to me. I am like, oh, you didn't know me that long. It's not that big of a deal. Like, thank you for the lessons. Like, thank you for the lessons. I appreciate it. Because the thing is, there is a lesson in everything. There is something to appreciate in everything. And I can appreciate everything I've learned in my life. No matter if it brought pain or heartbreak or ends of things or beginnings of things, I can find the lesson and I can appreciate the hell out of it. But the thing is, it's like those are the things that mind boggle me. Like, and the thing is, I don't need to consume my thoughts with it. But it just like when you said that, it's like I completely agree. Like, how do you just be over here living your life? And it's like I said, you're like, but I'm just like, I'm not that important. Like, I'm not that interesting. Or like, I think I'm kind of boring. But like, I like being boring now. I used to like not be boring. And like, we used to have all the excitement and not the good kind. So like, I like being boring. I do. So like, I don't know. I just don't know sometimes. I don't.
But that's the thing, and I think that it's okay. Like, I think that's kind of where it's okay to stop your energy.
Yeah.
You're allowed to stop your energy is at the point where you're like, "I just don't get it."
Yep. And that's
It's okay.
where I stop it.
It's not yours to get.
Nope.
It's not
Exactly.
yours to get because Imma tell you what, if that person had a problem with you and they had the balls, because it was a legitimate
Ding,
problem,
ding, ding. My number's still the
they
same.
probably have your phone number, and I'm gonna tell you if they don't have your phone number, they don't know you well enough to have a problem.
Facts.
And it's just one of those things, like, it's like, you can't control other people, nor are you looking to. So sometimes you have to be okay with not knowing.
Correct.
And that's a deeper lesson, that's a bigger lesson than anybody could even want to learn, because nobody wants to learn that lesson, because it involves patience, it involves trust, it involves faith. But I'll tell you what, when you get pinged and you're like, Why? And when I say pinged, I mean your energy gets pinged
Yes.
and you just get these feeler, you get a gut knowing, and you're like,
Mhm.
something doesn't feel right. Why do I feel like someone's talking about me? Why do I feel like, or why is this person popping in my head out of nowhere while I'm cooking dinner? Or why am I over here driving and all of a sudden, boom, I'm getting an image of this person? This is weird, right? But you just keep on going. Or maybe you woke up from a dream. Why did I have a whole astral where this person didn't see my ass, but I could see them talking shit? That was weird, right? And you just go about your day. I promise you, those pings will be verified. Do not worry.
Yep.
Do not lower yourself. Do not go look. Do not stalk social media. Do not try
No.
to find your own
If it's
confirmation.
brought to your aware, I always say this. Anything that comes in is brought to your awareness for a reason. And how many times do I say, we don't need to know? If your team, God, source, spirit, creator, universe needs you to know something, they are going to give you an undeniable sign. Other than that, it is an awareness. And I promise, and I say this, I promise, it will make sense to you later. It's just not supposed to make sense to you right now. It's just an awareness. But if it's meant to be something more, you will absolutely get an undeniable sign or confirmation. You don't have to go looking for it. It will find you.
And I'm going to tell you, like, you don't always need a confirmation for everything.
Nope.
And it's frustrating, our humanness, of course. But let me just break this down for you. Like, if you get a confirmation after a ping that your ping was correct, somebody was talking shit about you, or somebody was just talking about you in general. Maybe it wasn't shit. Maybe they were inquiring about what you were up to, whatever, right? Like, or they were reminiscing about you. What's the difference, right? You weren't in the conversation. It doesn't really matter. The nature of it, right? So it's like, great. Your name was in their mouth, fantastic. Your image was in their mind, fantastic. Once you get that confirmation, bitch, when it happens again, well, there you go. That's all the confirmation you needed. It already happened once. It already happened twice. When you get that ping again and you're like, believe it. Believe it because they don't always need to give you, they'll give you confirmation, but believe it in the moment.
Yep.
Because when you're sitting there going back and forth, and I can say this from experience, when you're sitting there going back and forth and going, well, I know the last two like were confirmed, but like, what about this one, right? Like, because that's our humanness, right? That's our over analytical side of being like, well, I just want to make sure I'm not crazy. You're not crazy, bitch. Like, speaking from one person who used to be like, I just want to make sure I'm not crazy. What do you think? Like, you're not crazy. You're just not. You're not. Because they're going to give it to you. But exactly, but that's the thing. They're gonna give it to you, whether it be a random sign, a person, a messenger bringing something to you, or you legitimately catch someone in the act, you bump into something, and they're like right in front of you talking about you. Like it doesn't matter what it is. Like it's okay. Just believe what you get. You know what I mean? Like to just believe what you get, and but continue on
Move.
because just know
Yes.
they're just letting you know that that energy you're feeling is not yours.
It's not yours.
Wasn't yeah, it wasn't wrong and it's not yours. And that's what they're really trying to confirm. They're not trying to get you to go on this big thing like I need to defend myself.
Nope.
I need to prove people wrong. I need to cast something. I need to create. If you feel that you need to put up protection because that energy is bothering you, then that's really the reason you're doing it
Correct.
because the energy is bothering you so much that it's distracting you from what you're currently doing. Then do what you need to do to lessen the distraction.
For you.
But no, it's not the person.
Correct.
It's just the fact that you don't have the best control over your energy. I'm sorry, I said it. You don't have the best control over your energy. Like, and it's okay. But I'm gonna tell you, for the people out there right now who are running your mouth, who are chit chatting about people, just be careful because the universe right now is having like this divine rebalancing of the justice scales over here. And I'm gonna just tell you, they're telling on people left and right. Like more right now, I feel like than ever, people are not only showing their asses, they are not only like their lies are becoming so blatant and so obvious that it's hard to like look around, let
They're
alone look
almost
past.
telling on themselves, and then it's just coming out. That's how I want to say it. It's like they're telling on themselves, and the universe is just letting you know.
And for the people who are observing or watching or noticing, just sit back. Just let it unfold because I'm going to tell you it's not done yet. And this is like that second wave for the people who were kind of fence sitting for the longest time to choose. And
They
don't get me
better
wrong, there'll be another choice later down the road. It's not like you never get another choice again. You always get another choice. But right now, this is like a collective choice.
Yes.
for like, what are people doing? Where do they align? What are they putting up with? What are they not? Like, you know what I mean? But it has nothing to do with you. Just keep your head down and keep on chugging along, is the way that I want to say it. When you rent space for free in somebody else's head, it has nothing to do with you, but everything to do with how your authentic energy has irritated the shit out of their demons and how they are stuck on stupid about that point in their life where they just can't fathom the idea that you are who you are and you do what you do. But it doesn't affect you because you are who you are and because you do what you do. It doesn't affect you. Be careful where you focus attention. It's not about the person. That's their lesson. That's their journey. That's their breadcrumb of healing to go back into themselves, just like you've done, to fix some shit, to work on some shit, so to accept some shit, to own some shit, to take some responsibility for some stuff, right? Like, but let them do that or don't do it because that's their journey. We don't need that negativity in our life. Just keep chugging along. Be Alrighty. Thank you guys so much for listening in, tuning in. Thank you for joining us on the Spiritual Roundtable, where we just really get right down in it, no BS, and we just give you exactly what you need to hear. Not always what you want to hear, but definitely what you need to hear. Thank you for joining myself and Miss Keys of Wisdoms 369 for our talk today. And we hope you join us next week, where we have more straight talk coming right your way. And if you are not a member of the website, but you enjoy conversation like this and free knowledge and learning, we have a free tree of knowledge and you should check it out. Become a member. It's 100% free and you'll find it on www.childofbalance.com. Remember, as you go through this journey, please remember you are to feel your way through everything. Do not stop. Do not make yourself smaller. And always continue to be unapologetically and authentically you, because the world needs more of that.